Hi, welcome to the video. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy, and comment your thoughts and opinions on the stories. Let's get started. Am I the antagonist for charging my friend for the soap I make? I, 18 male, make soap and sell it on as a bit of a side hustle. It's something I enjoy and all my earnings go into my savings for when I have kids. I buy all the materials and ingredients myself to make them, and therefore I do charge for them. I do 8 for 8 ounces of soap, which I think is a fair price. I only make around 2 profit, but it all adds up, and as I have said, it is fun. My friend came to me the other day and asked if she could get 5 bars of soap. I said sure, and told her that it would be 24 as I do a mate's rate for people I know. She came back to me and said that she didn't expect to have to pay for it as I'm her friend. I explained that, although she is my friend, I do still have to pay for the ingredients, and it takes time to make soap. I told her that I had done a mate's rate for her so that she wouldn't have to pay as much, but she said it was still way too expensive. I said that I'm more than happy to do an IOU if she wants to pay at a later date. She declined and told me she won't be paying and to ship them out now. I waited a couple of days to cool off in the hope that she would have done the same. I messaged her and said that I don't mind going down to 18, but I can't go any lower. She said she would pay 5 for 5 bars, that's it. I told her that 1 bar is 8, so I would lose a lot of money on it. She said that she would go somewhere else then, and she was going to tell everyone how bad my service is. We have since talked, and she is still a bit bitter, but she told me that she was sorry and didn't know what came over her. She took me out for drinks, but she still seems a bit pissed. So, am I the antagonist? I would always pay full price and never presume something like this was free. I'd be delighted to aid my friend's enterprise. Don't send her crap. A friend would appreciate that you invested time and money in your interest and would buy your stuff. Comment by team member Shannon. Now for the top comments. NTA. Real friends purchase their friends' goods without the expectation of a discount. I always do. Crafting takes time and materials, and you never get what it's really worth anyway. No reason to steal from your friends. NTA. It's a business, not a charity. Your friend was just trying to take advantage of your friendship, but it's good that she apologized. Given that Op was more than willing to lower the price twice, he went as low as £18. This friend sounds like a mooch. Clearly not the a-hole. BRB. I'll have to talk to my pilot friend real quick cause I'm in need of a flight to Sicily stat. Wait, what does he mean with BOOKNG a ticket? We are friends after all, and he will fly that damn plane anyway. I'll just go to the airport and make a real fuss if they won't let me board. Man, friends sure are convenient. Am I the antagonist for getting an entire table for myself after my husband and his mom didn't save me a seat? I'll start this off by saying that I, F32, have been with my husband Bob, male 39, for 3 years, married for 1. His mom has a habit of keeping me out of most of their functions with the excuse of you work too much. Not true, because sometimes I do make myself available, but yet find myself excluded. Last week, his mom invited us for a celebratory dinner at the restaurant after she completed her recovery. I had to with that day, but I kept her and everyone know that I'd be there at 8 PM. Bob obviously knew I was coming. Thing is, when I arrived to the restaurant, I saw that the table was full. All chairs had been taken, and I just stood there with complete puzzlement while Bob and his mom just stared at me. His mom then told me there was no place left for me and that I could either have Bob get up and take his seat or go home. I was so upset, but instead of going home I just went and took an entire table for me. Bob and his mom watched with their eyes popping out of their heads, like they saw something so shocking. NGL, I did get weird looks from the guests, but so did Bob and his mom. It was awkward in all honesty. I had my dinner, dessert, then went home. I saw Bob and his mom staring grudgingly while I was making my way out. He got home an hour later and yelled saying I embarrassed his mom in front of her guests. I yelled asking WTF was I supposed to do after I got denied a seat, and he told me that it wasn't his nor his mom's fault. Guests arrived before me and took all the available chairs. I told him he could have saved me a chair. He said that I could just left instead. and reminded me that I was a guest and that I shouldn't expect this level of entitlement to be accepted. He then went on about how I ruined the entire dinner for him and his mom with what I did and has been pouting about it for days now. I don't get it. I really don't. Was my expectation really that entitled? I mean, as his wife he should have saved me a seat. But clearly I'm missing something here. Do you really want to treat people with this much disdain for the next 20 years? You should reconsider getting married. In my opinion, your husband will always prioritize his mum and is not at all supportive. It's past time for Bob and I to have a come to Jesus conversation. Comment by team member Corey. Now for the top comments. NTA, I don't understand why you would be with someone who clearly doesn't view you as family. Him being your husband is pretty bad. Not sure if it's always been like this, but wow, that's a horrible way to treat you. Ugh, the family argument is what bothers me. He actually thinks it's the other way around. That I don't consider his family mine, only because I don't try hard enough to be around them. Has no one explained why there weren't enough seats for all the invited guests? By their logic, whoever got there last would have to go home, since there weren't enough seats. Do you think any of your mom's other guests would have been sent home if you got there first? I don't think so either. This was intentionally done by your mother-in-law to humiliate you, and your husband was in on it. They were only upset because your actions turned the tables on them and made them look foolish instead of successfully humiliating you. You failed to stay properly under their thumb. So your husband is punishing you a different way. I don't know what his end game is. I do know controlling, abusive behavior when I see it. Nothing you said even closely resembles a healthy, functional relationship. Not the a-hole in this situation, obviously. This is it right here. NTA. 1. They could have booked a table with the appropriate seating. 2. They could have pulled up a chair and budged up if a random extra guest turned up. 3. They could have split the table into 2. 4. They could have texted you before you got there and said there's an issue with the table. Why are you married to someone who would literally sit there staring at you instead of do something to help and then blame the situation on you? Am I the antagonist for not taking a job and embarrassing my mother? This is kind of silly, and English isn't my first language, so ignore any mistakes anyway. I'm a 20-year-old male, recently graduated with a business management degree. I'm an ambitious guy on my way to own a coffee shop, which was one of my dreams for a long time. I can't see myself working for someone or under management, meaning I want to work for myself, doing what I want without pressure or someone to boss me around. My mother, on the other hand, strongly believes that I should work for the state or for some company so I can have health insurance and so on. I disagreed with her and explained my plans. She agreed to leave me do my thing after long arguments. I thought that was it. 2 days ago we had a big family gathering and close family friends coming. During dinner my mother looked at me and said, "You're having a job interview tomorrow." I was confused and asked her what she means. Her friend who was there looked at me and told me that I'm gonna work for her in a counseling company. Mind, she was paying me €500 a month working from 8 to 4. I was so surprised I just chuckled and told her I'm not looking for a job. My mother on the other side of the table yelled, "You are gonna take the job, like it or not," in front of everyone. I was embarrassed tbh and just laughed it off, which infuriated her more. Bad move from my part. She then started scolding me in front of everyone like I'm a damn kid, which I then said I'm not gonna take the job. End of discussion. Then I left the table and went home. After it my mother kept sending messages calling me disrespectful and how much I embarrassed her and that I brought shame to her. My father said I'm not wrong, but yet I handled it wrongfully and I should waited till we were alone. So am I the antagonist? I gently declined a job offer that was made to me. Your mother is the for attempting to play the "he'd never say no" to me while there are witnesses game and telling me that I had embarrassed her and wasted a favor on her. Comment by team member Cody. Now for the top comments. NTA, I saw in a comment that you are financially independent and currently make more than the job offers doing advertising. There is no reason for you to take a poorly paying job just because your mom said so. The fact that she tried to tell you that you are taking the job as a full-grown adult is inappropriate. Yep, She thinks you underscore embarrassed her underscore? No, not the a-hole. NTA, you tried communicating politely with her. She needs to step back into her lane, which will require you being strong and harsh and firm. NTA, your mother started it in public. Why should you have to wait for a private moment to reply? Also, 500 euros a month for full-time work. How could your mother think you could possibly live on that? She more than likely knows he wouldn't be able to, and that he'd have to move back in with her to be able to afford living expenses. Boom. Instant house slave she can control. NTA, you're an adult and you can make your own decisions. You handled it better than most. Honestly, I'm sure your mom's friends enjoyed seeing that side of her. Am I the antagonist for refusing to share food with my boyfriend? Food is a precious resource and I feel so protective over it due to childhood trauma. My mother would take the best bits of my food, and it has left me with issues with sharing. I hoard and hide sweets because I'm worried someone will come and take them. My boyfriend seems to overindulge hugely on food. If we have any sweet treats in the house, he will eat them in an instant. I hate it. We share a grocery budget, and he cooks delicious meals for the both of us often. He gives me portions of it for work etc too. But he does often make my portions worse than his. For example, he will give me the plate with the smallest amount of the yummiest bits of food such as meat, cheese etc. It makes me furious, and I'm so frustrated that I can't keep things in the house without him gorging on them. He has issues with food and thinks he needs to eat every last scrap of everything. If he is full up, he will continue to stuff his face as much as possible until all of the food has gone. Obviously this makes me even more irate as he's not even hungry when he's doing this. This issue has built to the point that if I cook something for both of us, I don't want to share with the food with him. I want to give myself huge portions and keep it all for myself. I know we share a grocery budget, but I've become so protective of my food around him now. I'm fed up of waking up, coming into the kitchen, and finding him eating a fistful of something I made the night before. I refused to share my food with him last night, and I'm making myself food and hiding it. He found some of my food stashed away, and was angry with me being selfish and hiding food. Am I the antagonist here? Partner was unaware that I stored leftovers with the intention of preparing another complete supper with them. They came from a home where anyone could eat leftovers whenever they wanted. You should receive careful treatment rather than being denied equal portions or high quality food. Comment by team member Alex. Now for the top comments. Ain't everyone needs therapy. I guess, but really ain't. Right? Also, if you've both got similar trauma and are both engaging in behaviors that'll bring that specific kind of trauma in each other to the surface, maybe you shouldn't be together. This was my exact thought reading this. They are completely incompatible. Info: are you getting professional help dealing with this past trauma? Yes. But he refuses to get help for his, which is very frustrating. Then it sounds like, until he does get help, this is not a viable living situation for either of you. His actions aren't good for your healing, and he's not doing himself any favors for his own mental and physical health. It would be interesting to know if he's always been this way with food or he's doing it deliberately to get a rise out of the op and control her. You both need to get counseling as soon as possible, or you are going to face health issues as you age. IMHO, you're both at fault. Am I the antagonist for calling out a man for stealing his stepson's birthday present? I'm a little upset right now, but I thought I should get your opinion before I have an even bigger blow up. So my 30 SM cousin's 40 SF son Jake turned 16 recently. I'm very close with my cousin, and her son calls me Uncle Opus. My cousin called me about a week ago and said she was planning on getting her son a car for his birthday, but with the rising price of cars lately, she was a bit short. She asked if I could contribute to his gift. I said of course. Give me a couple days to move some stuff around, and I can send over about $1,000. She seemed very appreciative. I later talked with my husband about it, and he said that I should ask my cousin what he wants for his birthday and give him the option of contributing to his car or buying him whatever else he may want. I thought that was fair, so I messaged him. and he informed me his grandmother bought him a new car about 2 weeks ago and he would prefer an Amazon gift card a week, and 2 days before his mother asked me for money for a car. His grandmother bought him one. I asked a couple more questions. I found out the car was actually at his house already. He was annoyed because his stepdad had been using it since his grandma dropped it off. I asked, why is your stepdad using your new car that you haven't even driven yet? And he says, because his stepdad just totaled his about 5 days ago. Little background: stepdad is a blue collar worker with a white collar man's taste. Thinks he deserves all of the best things because he's the man of the house. He didn't even buy that house. He moved into the house that my cousin owned already. Once I was over their house for dinner and he demanded the largest steak because he was the man of the house. That's what we are working with here. So I called Vanessa and I asked her what's going on, and she said, well, since my husband totaled his car and he didn't have full coverage, he's going to take Jake's and I'm going to buy Jake a used car. I blew up on her. I said, I'm not buying your husband a car. I thought it was absolute bullshit the way she made it sound, like I was contributing to buy a car for Jake. Here's where I might be the asshole. I called the grandmother. Grandma's pissed. The car is in her name still. She told her daughter Vanessa her husband is not allowed to drive it. Now Vanessa is telling me I'm an asshole because I told her mother about how her husband essentially stole her son's car, and I don't understand everything going on. All she wanted was my help, and I made things worse for her. I want to tell her to leave her shitty husband because all he does is take, but I'm trying to contain myself. Grandma, and you handled this situation expertly. She gifted her great niece, who is 17 years old, a very lovely, paid off automobile a few years ago. Stepfather started putting on miles while working 2 hours every day and enjoying driving. Comment by team member Taylor. Now for the top comments. NTA, you stopped a thief from stealing something big. You did the right thing. I also think your cousin was just as much a thief, and I bet her son has lost a lot of respect for his mom. I didn't even think about your last statement. Now I'm really pissed off and bummed out. I'm sorry, but that was my first thought. I'm glad your cousin's son has you looking out for him. NTA, Vanessa and her husband are thieving assholes. You had every right to reach out to your nephew's grandmother. That said, I certainly wouldn't trust Vanessa on any joint gift giving situations in the future. Am I the antagonist for using gym Childcare to do homework? Edit, should have led with this being a YMCA. If it was an LA Fitness I could see why people were angry. I feel like the Y is sort of a gray area. I also asked before I joined if I could do this, and they told me it was okay. I, 35F, have 3 kids, but only my 4-yo and 2-yo are involved in this question. I pay $114 a month for a family gym membership. I pay for this specific membership because the gym includes 2 hours of Childcare per day with it. I do use the gym to work out, but I almost always use the Childcare to get homework done. I'm a full-time student and have very limited options for Childcare. My husband works 2 jobs, so often it's just me and the kids from 6 AM to 8 PM. They go to nursery 2 mornings a week and that's all we can afford. I have a lot of coursework, so I need more time to do it. I wouldn't have even thought of this question, but I have had an interaction several times that made me wonder if I'm doing something wrong. Surrounding some of the workout classes, yoga, body pump, cycling, etc. a line forms for Childcare, and sometimes the people at the back of the line don't get their kids in because they're hit capacity. I try to avoid coming at the same time as these classes, but my schedule is what it is, and sometimes I can't avoid it. Multiple times, the same women have, I guess, seen me and realized I'm unpacking a computer after I drop my kids off. They formed a group and are complaining that I shouldn't be allowed to leave my kids there unless I'm working out. The gym basically told them they don't care what I'm doing as long as I stay in the facility. They are escalating it though and writing letters to corporate and complaining to management every time I'm there, even when Childcare is not at capacity. I'm really pissed because I need this Childcare. They keep telling me to do homework at the library, but the library doesn't have Childcare. I wanted to make sure I'm not the asshole here. I honestly don't believe that I am. but this group of women is like 15 strong, so maybe I'm missing something. Edit. I forgot to mention that this is a YMCA. It's not like a corporate gym. There are a lot of programs other than strictly exercise that are on here. Technically it's more than a gym. I live next to an extremely affluent area, so it's definitely a high quality workout facility. I think most people think of it only as a gym. Edit 2. Some of these people would still not be able to go to their workout, even if my 2 children were not in childcare. They are frequently short 8-10 sports when 2 classes are scheduled at once. I also really do try to avoid these classes. My schedule overlaps with peak times once every other week. This issue exists even when I'm not there. I frequently utilize the YMCA and have never had to wait in a huge queue at the childcare drop-off or been turned away at busiest periods. The childcare facility should have more employees. They will rethink their stance if they begin to lose money as a result of you. Comment by team member Shannon. Now for the top comments. NTA, you pay for it then use it. I'm guessing there are no specific rules saying you must be working out to use the daycare. No, I also feel like I should have clarified that it's a YMCA and they told me I'm not the only one who does this. If that matters, it's not like a corporate gym. Even if it's a corporate gym, that's literally what you're paying for. Childcare. So you could be working out. You could be sitting in the lobby staring at the darn wall. It's actually not any of their business what you're doing there, as long as you're on the grounds when your kid is in their care. I used to drop my daughter off at corporate gym and do my computer work. It's not a weird thing to do at all. Not the a-hole. The gym basically told them they don't care what I'm doing as long as I stay in the facility. The gym is doing as it should. Also they are bored. This what happens when you have nothing going on in your life. This is a resource you pay for, so you sit as you want. Also it won't look well for the gym if it kicks out a mother using their provided resources for a bunch of bitter people who can't mind their own business. Not the a-hole. Not only all of what you said, but Op is a paying member just like these particular women who are trying to cause trouble for her. It sounds like these people need to focus more on a group class rather than get bent out of shape even for something as simple as using an outlet at the gym to charge a phone. Good God. I was all for YTA until I got to the part where it's the Y. NTA. It's the freaking Y. You don't just have a gym membership. You have a YMCA membership which includes more than just the gym and daycare.